You know, if Barcelona really wanted to save their finances this summer, the only things that Barcelona need to do is to sell one of their most talented players. Like if they want to cover some of their debts and at the same time sign a world-class player, they can simply do that by letting go of one of these star players that many clubs have been asking for. Recently, Joan Laporta was in an interview and he was asked about these crazy bids that were proposed to him. And this is what Joan Laporta said: "We are currently receiving crazy bids for players like Lamine Yamal for around 200 million euros. We're rejecting, of course. We trust Lamine and we don't need to sell. We have also received bids for Balde, Fermín Lopez, Pedri, Jong, Araujo, Gavi, and we don't want to sell any of our stars." Araujo has been probably the most demanded one by Bayern Munich. It was reported earlier this year that they have offered Barcelona 80 million euros plus 10 million euros in variables to bring Araujo to Bayern Munich. Joan Laporta, Deco, and everybody within the board rejected the offers of Bayern Munich over and over again, and they said that Araujo is not for sale. Mundo Deportivo also stated that Barcelona consider him as an important player for the present and future. Beyond the economic issue, Araujo wants to ensure that they have a competitive team to continue winning everything. He wants to take Barcelona to the top and wants the club to ensure that they will make an effort to inspire for everything, which is the main reason why Araujo will not leave anywhere, because he is, at the end of the day, one of our captains. Another player that has been asked by many clubs in Saudi Arabia has been Raphinha, which is also another player that Barcelona could sell to fix their finances. And it says here, according to sources within Brazil, that Al Hilal has made a 100 million euro offer for Raphinha, with the Saudi club also prepared to triple his current salary. And that, my friends, is insane. It's insane because if Barcelona, again, if they really wanted to fix their finances and sign a star player, they can do that within an instant by selling Raphinha for 100, Araujo for 90 million euros, and Lamine Yamal for 200 million euros. In total, they could take in 400 million euros from all of these sales. But at the end of the day, I do believe that many of us fans, and maybe even with Laporta and Deco, want to have a true team, which is why we're not willing to sell our best players. Raphinha is a very interesting case though, because I don't know how the club does view Raphinha and his future. He is going to be with us for a third season if he continues with us in the summer. And maybe they might say, we have Lamine Yamal, we're going to be signing Messinho also, we have two players on the right wing position, and we can also have Ferran Torres as a right winger as our third option. And so I don't know how they may view Raphinha, but it seems like, based off what Deco said about 3 to 4 days ago, that they don't want to let go of any players. If anything, they just want to add players on top of their current one, which ultimately does lead me to the next conversation. I want to speak about the 7 players that I believe should be offloaded in the summer, right? Because I just don't want to have conversations about Lamine, Raphinha, Araujo, because there is a sense that they have a very strong foundation at the club and they're not going to let them go. And even though this route that I am about to propose is not going to be the most fascinating one and is not going to be fixing the finances of the club, it's going to give us a slight help, a slight boost to maybe cover up one position that we need in the summer. So starting with Serginho Dest, this is going to be a player that I truly believe should be letting go of. Of course, at one point we saw him as a replacement for Dani Alves, but he has been unable to deliver at Barcelona and also AC Milan, and he finally found his level at PSV, which is playing at the Netherlands. Serginho Dest is 23 years old. He's finally going to be headed to his first ever league title with PSV, and they're currently like 10 points clear on top of second place. It's insane. And one of the reasons why PSV has been so successful is because of Serginho Dest and what he adds on the left flank. PSV certainly do want to buy Serginho Dest. According to multiple sources, they want to activate the 10 million euro purchase clause, and even the sporting director, Ernie Stewart, who has also been the sporting director of the US men's national team, where Dest is from, he also said that I hope Serginho Dest does stay with us. And so to me, Dest is a sell for 10 million euros. As for the next player, it's going to be Lenglet. Lenglet, for, you know, at one moment in the past 5 years, I actually did think that Lenglet was going to have a future, because I remember seeing him in the 2018-2019 season and I'm like, okay, you know, this player might be good. But ever since post that season, he has only continued to drop his level. He is still contracted with Barcelona until 2026, but the future with Barcelona is very clear. There is no room for him anymore. Yes, he had those moments of brilliance where he did have defensive masterclasses, but you cannot compare what Lenglet is today with what we have now with Araujo, Koundé, Kubarsi, etc. Barcelona is just on a different level at this point. Now the problem is his salary. He has been given so much in terms of his salary that it does not even justify his performances. He has also only played 12 league matches for Aston Villa out of 29 matches, and I don't see like anybody saying, yeah, we'll take over for Lenglet and pay him what he is supposed to be worth, because he is currently in a set contract. And so it's going to be difficult I don't know how strongly Aston Villa do view Lenglet, but I hope that in some way and in some capacity, they can agree to the terms that Lenglet and the agent do ask for in terms of the salary mass. If Lenglet ends up getting sold, I do expect for him to be sold for around 10 to 15 million euros. I'm gonna just say worst case scenario, 10 million euros. Moving on towards the next one, and that is Oriol Romeu. Now, you guys already know why Oriol Romeu should be sold. I just don't think that he is the pivot for us. Again, at one point, very similar to Lenglet, there was this little era, a little phase in the game and in the season where Oriol Romeu actually did look like the ultimate central defensive midfielder that could accompany Frankie de Jong. But since then, since the first 2 months, he has only dropped his level, and drastically, because every time he has the ball in the middle of the pitch, we all pray that he does not make a misplaced pass or lose the ball. Clearly, when you play at Barcelona, you cannot do things like this. It is just not acceptable at all. Oriol Romeu is not at the level that Barcelona need, and so to me, he should be sold. His contract does end next year in 2025 or 2026, I believe, but for sure in this summer, there is going to be a purchase option, and I think that he can be sold for 3 million euros. The next player is going to be Eric Garcia. Eric Garcia, for me, I think is a great player. I'm not going to ever say that Eric Garcia is a bad player. He showcases his talent through his passing, through his work rate. I'm very glad to see Eric Garcia prosper at Girona, but like I have said, very similar to Lenglet, the defense that we have today is immovable. You cannot bring any other center back to disrupt what we have right now. Eric Garcia, for me, has been amazing for Girona for one reason. It is because Mikel, who is the coach of Girona, prioritizes trying to make a system that suits all players instead of bringing in players to fit through a system. That is exactly what Xavi Hernandez does at Barcelona. He brings players to suit a certain system. Mikel is the exact opposite. He creates a system that can best complement the players, and for me, Mikel has been creating a system that complements Eric Garcia in order for him to really thrive in the back line, and he puts him in a back three where he is properly protected. He's given a lot of options in the midfield to pass it to, which is why he never loses the ball, and I can see him being very happy at Girona and really prosper there. I remember Mikel a few months ago did state that, and I quote, "I don't want to take away the essence from my players," which is basically meaning that he does not want to create a system where it does not bring the best out of his own players, and that is exactly why I just feel like Eric Garcia has found his team, and I do believe that he will be happy there. To me, I feel like we have found our version of Eric Garcia, like the type of profile that we were trying to look for, and that is Cubarsí. Cubarsí is a monster, and he is only 5 steps above what Eric Garcia does provide, and so to me, Eric Garcia should be sold for around 15 million euros. Moving on towards the next two, and I'm just going to be combining these two players because they're in a very similar phase. Marcos Alonso and Sergi Roberto. I know that Sergi Roberto is a captain. I know that we have also heard rumors about Barcelona offering Sergi Roberto another contract, but I just don't think that they should do it. I think they should let go of Sergi Roberto and Marcos Alonso for free in the summer. Again, you guys have been saying, Kevin, how are you going to be selling Marcos Alonso and Sergi Roberto when they're not even sold for anything? They're going to be free because their contracts are going to be ending in the summer. Let me clarify. I've said that Marcos Alonso and Sergio Roberto should definitely leave in the summer, mainly because we don't want to pay their salaries. That is the main reason why. Both of these players take a total of 5 to 6 million euros a season. If you let go of these two players, you're going to be freeing out about 12 to 16 million euros in salary. And that is a lot because you can fit one great player in there, which is why it's very important for Marcos Alonso and Sergio Roberto to leave. To me, Marcos Alonso has no spot because now we have Inigo Martinez, who is the backup to Cubarsí, and Cubarsí is the backup to either Araujo or Kunde, whoever wants to play in the center back position. Sergio Roberto, a great complementary player, very versatile. I know that he can play on the right back position and also in the midfield. But we have Fermín Lopez, we have Gundogan, we have Pedri, we have Gavi. We're going to be adding another central defensive midfielder, and it just makes no sense to keep Sergio Roberto when he's taking away some salaries in the wage bill. So to me, Marcos Alonso and Sergio Roberto have to go. The last player that I do want to speak about, and this is going to be the most controversial, and I want you guys to have that conversation in the comment sections down below, and I want to speak about Ansu Fati. Yes, I know you guys are probably like, oh my god, this guy is insane. I'm going to unsubscribe. I'm going to dislike this video because of what he said, and I understand why you may be a fan of Ansu Fati and that he should be given a second chance, but to me, right, I have to put the club over any player. I don't care if it's Messi, I don't care if it was Ronaldo Nazario or if it was Maradona or Ronaldinho, I don't care. Put the club before any other player and you will understand why this player should be moved. To me, Ansu Fati should be sold for 40 million euros. Let me tell you guys, when I saw him at the age of 16 years old, to me he was talented. I was like, this guy plays like Eto. He's not a name Neymar, he's not a Bernardo Silva, he's not a Nico Williams. He is a goal scorer. He is a hybrid of a striker and a winger. He likes to receive the ball in the middle of the pitch, create a 1-2, and score from like a central area. He's almost like a number 9, which is why I believe De Zerbi uses Ansu Fati as a number 9. But apparently, after everything that we have seen in his first 2 to 3 years at Barcelona, all the injuries that he has gone through has tortured his career like a lot. And ever since I saw him return earlier this season, he has been slower, his confidence has lowered, and this is something that has been showed at Barcelona before, which was in the previous season. And so in the situation that Barcelona is at right now, and with Xavi Hernandez, we cannot afford to have players that are at a low level. This is the reason why I say put the club before anybody else. Don't let your emotions off of a certain player dictate how you should move in the future. Barcelona cannot afford to have slow, low confidence players. We have to move away from that. We don't know how these young players are going to be performing in the future, and we have to take advantage of whatever we can right now. So Ansu Fati left to Brighton, and De Zerbi has been taking very well care of Ansu, and he has been scoring maybe a few goals. I think it was around 2 goals earlier in the season, but he has again encountered another injury, and his minutes have been reduced from here. And there is that sense that De Zerbi does want to continue to work with Ansu because, according to Sport, they have claimed that De Zerbi wants Brighton to loan Ansu Fati again for the next season. Inside, they believe Fati is a sleeping giant, and the coach is determined to wake him up. De Zerbi has complete confidence in Ansu, and he was following the roadmap of adaptation, which was cut short due to injury. The mission with the attacker seems incomplete at the moment. So, again, in my opinion, like, I know that this is great to hear that De Zerbi wants to work with Ansu and that he believes that Ansu Fati is a sleeping giant and that maybe eventually in the future they can get the best out of the player. But I just look, like I have said, next season Barcelona have to dominate everything no matter what, and I feel like Xavi Hernandez will continue because the level that Barcelona have been performing has been amazing, and I believe that if everything goes well in the summer and we do the correct moves, next summer we can go for everything, like everything. And I cannot even fathom going on for accepting another loan for Ansu when we need to bring income in to strengthen our squad this summer. The biggest sale that Barcelona could do this summer is with Ansu. I know that we can make other sales like what we talked about earlier in this video, like we can sell Frankie, Lewandowski, Koundé, Raphinha, but they're all doing well and they all work extremely hard to make Barcelona successful. You and me have seen this before. And so selling Ansu for 40 million euros would allow us to get closer to affording someone like Nico Williams, someone who is much better in the attack, someone who attacks the spaces much better than Ansu, somebody who is very much like Vinicius. And if anything, we can add a buy option for the future for Ansu. Like, so let's say for example, we sell him for 40 million euros to a certain club, whether it's Brighton or Sevilla or Liverpool, wherever, I don't care, Inter Milan, AC Milan, there should be a set purchase option for the player. Like if Ansu Fati ends up being world class in about 3 years and his set price is 90 million euros, we should put a purchase option for Barcelona exclusively for 50 to 60 million euros. So what I'm proposing here is to not sell Ansu Fati with no plan. There is definitely a plan, and that plan is to incorporate Nico Williams, who is at the same age of Ansu. They're both different profiles, but the profile that Nico Williams is exactly what Barcelona need. As you can see in this graph here, look at just how much Nico Williams dominates Ansu Fati in terms of key passes, assists, off actions, carries, dribbles. We need a player like that on the left wing. I included Ansu Fati's 2022-2023 season mainly because in this season right now with Ansu in Brighton, he barely has any minutes, which means that we barely have any data. So I used the season where he is playing a lot of minutes, which is 2,148. And so again, you can see that Nico Williams is just a monster compared to someone like Ansu. 40 million euros can definitely be used for Nico Williams' 60 million euro price tag. And so in the end, Barcelona would be able to sell all of these players for a total of 78 million euros and free up a total of 35 million euros in salary on the wage bill. We can definitely afford 2 to 3 more players with the salary bill opening up to another 35 million. And so that is it. That is going to be wrapping up today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.